Hello, I'm Tracy Umstadter, and I will be discussing the similarities and differences between the views of Paul Harmon, author of Business Process Change, and those of Michael Hammer and Stephen Stanton, authors of How Business Process Enterprises Really Work. So who are these guys, and why should we listen to them? Well, Paul Harmon is executive editor, senior analyst at Business Process Trends. He's a chief methodologist and a principal consultant with BP Trends Associates. Michael Hammer is co-founder of the Center for Reengineering Leadership, president and founder of Hammer & Company, and a former professor at MIT. Stephen Stanton is the co-founder of the Center for Reengineering Leadership. He's a contributor of BP Trends, and he holds an MBA from Harvard. Bottom line, these people are business process experts, and they're recognized thought leaders in the world of business process management. First, we'll start with Paul Harmon's views on transitioning. He starts with understanding the enterprise, asking questions like, what are the basic value chain processes that support the enterprise? What are the strategic goals those value chains support? What is the organization's business? What are its key relationships? This is a refinement of everyone's understanding of what the enterprise is and who the stakeholders are, both internal and external. Then Paul Harmon talks about defining a business process architecture, selecting a specific value chain, and gaining commitment on the process for building the business processes. Next, there's a refinement of the process governance. That means that you're going to define plans to manage the processes, select measurement and monitoring tools, and create an appropriate BPM group to carry out these plans. Then you can move to execution. Hammer and Stanton's views are a little different. They talk about preparation. They want you to prune the change initiatives that are relevant to process management so you're not distracted, and to connect the transition to a strategic initiative to ensure success. In the initiation phase, they want to be sure that everybody's devoting their full attention and they have a commitment to the process. They say you can make it high profile and anticipate resistance, and to overcome that, perhaps you want to recruit some executives as process owners. But you should be realistic about the time frame. Even though you engage these process owners early and they have a high position in the organization, there will be a lot of resistance to change. Then they talk about defining the BPM infrastructure. That means that they want to conduct an analysis of measures that drive the objectives. They want to establish process-centric measurement systems and establish management systems. They also talk about some things that would be best practices for your BPM group, such as co-locating them. And finally, they move to execution. Let's talk about common ground between these two viewpoints. First, there's commitment. Both views hold that commitment to the transition process is critical. Next, the process owner selection. This is a focus item because you want to have very strong representation, which means that you want to have business leaders that will own it end to end. You want to select a key process. This means that you don't try to scattergun your solution. You pick a high value target and you go after it with a lot of focus. You want to build a BPM framework. They both talk about building a framework that includes measurement, monitoring tools. And finally, you want to create an appropriate BPM group. And that group is one that is right-sized for your organization. It's good to see that these experts have a lot of agreement, but what are the differences? I picked out two key differences. First, in the area of preparation. Harmon talks mostly about understanding the enterprise and building up the team. He talks about getting consensus and understanding. He's talking about gaining a feeling of confidence in order to go forward. Hammer and Stanton don't talk about that so much. They focus on preparing the enterprise itself. It's a focus on the organization. Prune out changes that are irrelevant to process management and connect the entire transition to a strategic initiative. The other area is with regards to the business process management group. They both say have one, but Harmon doesn't go into any details. Doesn't talk about best practices. He later in the book talks about a facilitator's role a little bit. Hammer and Stanton However, they talk about committing a lot of resources to the BPM group, not just staff. They talk about spending time figuring out compensation and getting training and building a work environment because for them, it's all about having that BPM group in a position to succeed. Well, that's all the time I have. Please be sure to join the discussion. Let us know what you think about the similarities and differences between Harmon and Hammer and Stanton. Thank you.